Howdy, it's Monday, and everybody knows what Monday means. It's Monday Market 15, the 15-minute show that takes about 30, so sit in your seatbelts, pack in your seatbelt, whatever that is, and get ready for the hayride, because things are about to get a little messy. Here with me always is my co-host, Miss Ashley Miller, Great American Title.
Hello, everyone. Ashley Miller here from Great American Title.
And also, too, we have a special guest with us today, Mr. Victor Alarcon from Prime Lending. There he goes.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and letting me be a part of it again. Very happy, very excited.
So we're here every Monday talking about the Phoenix housing market, the things that are new here in Studio 110, Phoenix, Arizona, bringing you the information that you want the most. And this week is no different than any other week. We're looking at, we have a lender on the show today. So obviously purchasing a home right now is really kind of challenging, maybe. So the first topic that we want to talk about was the things to do in order to purchase a home. So that's why we have Mr. Alarcon here.
Thank you. So, like I said,
the audience is getting a little antsy.
Right? Everyone quiet down.
Yeah.
No. So the thing to do, and most importantly, is you have to talk to a lender first. You definitely do, because otherwise you're just walking the long dark tunnel. There's no light at the end of it, because you don't know, do I qualify for $200,000? Do I qualify for $400,000? I saw this beautiful home for $700,000 that my wife just wants, and I think we can afford it, but can we do it? The
crazy thing is people get on Zillow or they get on Redfin or something, and they see a house that is awesome, it's beautiful, and it's like, $500,000-$600,000 because it's all renovated, it's got the contemporary look, and then they're like, oh, I want to buy that house. And then the realization comes into like, oh, I can only afford so much, and so I think the very first and most important thing, and Ashley brought that up just before we got on the show today, was that you need to contact a lender, right, Ash?
Well, hope is not a strategy. We can't hope that we can buy the perfect home. No. Your wife or anybody's wife or us just in general look at a beautiful home, or we get on Zillow or Redfin.
Any one of them.
Any one of the resources that we have readily available to our tips of our fingers. Oh, gosh, this place is so beautiful. But at the end of it, what are we qualified for? So there's no purpose for us to hire Robert as a realtor to help us have him help us look for a home or do anything or even waste our time until we talk to you.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing, too, is you get onto Zillow. Let's just say for Zillow. You find this house at $600,000, and they have a mortgage payment of like $1,200 a month. So you're like, I can pay that. I pay $1,600 a month in rent right now. But you don't even read the fine print. 20% down, 2.75% interest rate, and no one has 20% down to put in a $700,000 home. Right? At least a majority of individuals.
That's rare.
Who can qualify for 2.75% interest rate? Probably no one right now. So, that's where you have to turn around and talk to a lender. And that's where, a lot of times I'll even have clients, well, my Credit Karma says I'm a 696 and you're not. You're a 646. Yeah. We can still get you approved, but you're not going to get that $700,000.
I'm glad you brought that up. So let's talk about Credit Karma for 1 minute. I don't know if I can bring this back so we can both be in the screen for 1 minute.
There we go.
Credit Karma. I'm obsessed with Credit Karma.
God. Stay in frame.
Obsessed. In frame. I'm obsessed with Credit Karma. I look at it daily.
Okay.
I am a huge advocate of it.
Right.
But what we don't understand as consumers is that how many different credit platforms are they? From my understanding, there's 7.
There's
Mortgages?
There's Vantage, there's
Cars?
Mortgage, there's Cars, but there's Credit Karma and Credit Wise from Capital One, and whichever the one that Discover Card uses, all of those, they're just algorithms. And there's actually a lot of brokers that have it. They have a quick glance. It's just a soft credit pull, and it costs like $3, and you can pull your credit softly. But it's not going to be accurate. It's going to be semi-accurate, but that pendulum can be 40 to 80 points.
That's a huge deal.
That's a big thing, because if you're looking for down payment assistance, Credit Karma says 686, and all of a sudden you're at 636. You might not be able to qualify.
So what is the? I know you're gonna ask a question. What is the, out of the 7 different ones? What is it called that you guys pull for mortgages? Because I know it's very different from buying a car.
VF9 or something like that. Yeah, that's.
It's out of the range, and then when you go get your card, it's like, well, I thought it was 700. And you're like, Yeah.
Well, even, I just bought a car, and we're trying to get qualified for a mortgage, my wife and I, but I just bought a car. My car score was 32 points higher than my mortgage score, which is insane.
I thought it was interesting, and I'm going to talk about myself for 1 minute because I always do. I paid off off a medical bill that was like $655.
Yeah.
Paid it off. I was like, heck yeah, right? My credit score dropped 38 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I re-triggered the algorithm.
Yep.
I know it'll go up again. I need to wait 30 to 60 days.
But it still sucks.
I couldn't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
I paid off a debt.
Yeah.
A medical debt.
I'm trying to get, so like I said, trying to get qualified for the mortgage. I turned around, found out I had an $11 collection from my cell phone service. $11. Paid it. My credit went down 18 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it'd be advantageous to talk to a lender, because if I had known, because I'm looking to refinance my house in January, we've talked about this before. I was like, okay, I'm going to pay off. I have 2 medical collections due to my health. I was like, I'm going to pay this off.
Yeah.
Paid it off. Then I got a notification your credit score went down, and I paid off all my credit cards.
Yep.
I put them down to 0, which I know they need to be between 0 and 30%.
Yep.
Paid everything off.
Yep. So raise the credit cards just a little bit. You should
I'm
be
glad we
fine.
got those sound effects.
Right.
We don't even need you right now for these.
Pay the credit, or get the credit cards used up a little bit more.
No, I'll bring them back up.
Yeah, you should be fine.
This is what I want you to talk to them about is here we are thinking that we're going to pay off medical debt, even though they say quote unquote doesn't count against you. Yep. And then we're going to pay down our credit cards, but our credit card should be between what you said, 0 and 30%.
30% utilization. That pendulum, I always call it the pendulum, because it's going to just pick it up like, oh, they don't know how to manage their account if they're at a 0 balance. Mm-hmm. Or, oh, they don't know how to manage their account because they're over 30% utilization. So it's all about those perfect numbers. That's the biggest thing. But the most important thing is, again, talking to a lender. What are we going to turn around and do? We're going to take an application, and it's going to be in full detail. So if you tell me, hey, I've been working with, so-and-so company for 2 years. Is it 24 months, 2 years, or 23 months, 2 years, or 26 months, 2 years? So that's the biggest thing, is finding that exact date, because we need 24 months of employment. You could have gone to 3 different companies. As long as I have 24 months, we're good to go.
In the same industry, right?
Even if it's the
or
different
same
industry.
the same monetary income intake.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to go from like $10 an hour to all of a sudden like 60,000 unless you were a student or something crazy.
Sure.
But it's just those 24 months. We also need to just validate the income. All the information that you give us, we just need to validate it. So we're going to ask for bank account statements. We're going to ask for your W-2s. We're going to ask for your pay stubs. We're going to ask for your ID to make sure that you're Ashley Miller.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't.
Oh, we know Ashley Miller.
We just need to make sure, right?
Everybody knows Ashley.
So, I mean, but after we validate everything, it's a quick process. It's not very difficult at all.
So, from my understanding from this conversation is validation for 2 years worth of income, tax returns, paycheck stubs.
Yes.
And also understanding too, one of the topics that came up today was being married or non-married. So let's talk about real quick these different government programs. So DPA, VA, those require different things.
Well, I think DPA is a little bit different than VA, though.
No, they are, but that's why I want to talk about this for a moment, because with DPA, there's credit score. People always think they have to have a certain credit score. With DPA, there's a certain income restriction in credit score restriction, but VA is different.
So VA obviously is one that's basically sponsored, I guess is the better word, by the Veterans Affairs. And obviously you have to have a DD-214. You have to either be...
What's that? Explain
A
that.
DD-214 is a document that basically states that the individual, if they're retired or they're separated from the military, that it basically just gives you a snapshot of what they were, what branch of the military service, and what they separated as. So, whatever rank they were, what they did. And it also should tell you right then and there if it was a general discharge, a medical discharge, honorable discharge, or less than honorable.
Would you say less than honorable discharge, or different than honorable? Does that count against you? Okay.
It could, because less than honorable discharge you may not be able to qualify for VA. And it all depends. You have to go and send it in for what they call a COE, a Certificate of Eligibility.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So there's definitely requirements there,
There are.
for VA.
And not only that, but if they're disabled, there's ways to actually go in and find out if they have to pay a funding fee.
Yeah.
So if they're disabled, there's no funding fee typically. So it's all finding out all those, intricacies and everything from the veteran. But here's the coolest thing. No money down needed and no mortgage insurance. So now imagine you're not having to pay mortgage insurance. You're saving $100 to God knows how much money a month just in not having to pay mortgage. So we talked about that, our magic word, right? The purchasing power. Imagine how much more you can pay now with that $120 or $300 a month that you're saving on mortgage insurance. So very important. The DPA, you have the DPA stands for down payment assistance. So there's a lot of details that have to go into it, and it all depends on what program you're going to go into, whether it's conventional or whether it's federal or government, FHA. So looking into which one, but the best thing to do is speak to the lender. That way we can pull it. We can show you your options if you want to go that route. Yeah. Because there's even times where, what if Uncle Robert can loan me, my money down? Or not loan me, but I'm sorry, gift me my money down. That's the biggest thing. If I can get a gift and I don't have to go through that route, that's an option as well.
So before you get to that next question, we're about 15 minutes or so into this segment. So if you guys have any comments or questions in there and you want to drop them in for Mr. Acorn.
Acorn.
That's my nickname for Victor regarding home loans, regarding any kind of mortgage information. We're here. Just drop them down. We can check them out and then answer them.
And the people that are live on Instagram right now, I don't know. We can see a few that are
ask
in
away.
here.
She's got Instagram.
But I definitely want people to ask away because with the DPA, which I thought was so intriguing when I did mine most recently, is they go off. So you have a certain credit score, right? Mm-hmm. We always think, we got to be in the 700s. We have to be here. There's a minimum, and there's different programs that can do that. The down payment program could range anywhere from 3-5%, which means they cover it for you, but it's actually a lien against your house. So it's like a second mortgage, but they're
correct. So here's the cool thing. So let's say that you qualify for a 3% down type of mortgage, but you can go in and actually request 5% from whichever program you decide to go through if you qualify for it. Well, that extra 2% covers your closing costs.
Right.
So bingo, bango, bongo, right? You're just ready to go. You don't have to come in with that much out of pocket if you can qualify for it.
Well, and typically you don't have to come out of any money out of pocket, and your closing costs are taken care of. There's a stipulation, though.
Correct.
You cannot refinance or buy another house within 3 years.
Correct.
So as we get into the next part of our segment, because we could talk about loans forever, but I do have to watch the time a little bit.
I know we're always time.
But the whole reason we wanted to talk about mortgages and the purchasing power is because we have a shifting market. We have things kind of turning a little bit. Last week we talked about one of my clients getting their offer accepted with not only their closing costs paid, but a home warranty, which has been very rare in circumstances of today. And so the Phoenix housing market compared to the national market is way different, and nationally, we're at a balanced supply, which doesn't make sense in our market. If you're out there buying a home right now, there's still a lot of competition. We're still on short supply, so is there anything you're seeing and anything in way of mortgages that can kind of help somebody on a deal or that an experience you had?
You know what? The market's going to continue to go up. I mean, last year it went up, 2020, it went up 24% is what they're saying. Mm-hmm. That's what the experts are turning around and saying. I mean, but, so here's the crazy thing. If it went up 24%, you can actually refinance your house if you were under DPA and pay that difference and remove the MI.
That's what I'm doing.
I don't know.
That is what I'm doing in January.
Yeah.
That's why I paid off all that debt.
And that's just an option. I mean, it's something that you can talk to your lender about, talk to me about. But with them going up that high, they're anticipating this year for 2022, the coming up year, it's going to go up 14%.
From the 24?
From the 24.
Wow. Okay.
So now, like we were saying, let's say you're qualified for a $300,000 home, and you're saying, we're going to wait to see if the market goes down. And you qualify for $300,000. Now add 14%, $42,000.
Well, what about the interest rates though? So interest rates right now are like they range, right?
Yeah, they range.
I don't know about 2.
Conventional from 2 something or 3 something, but for VA and DPA, they're higher.
VA is not typically higher.
Okay.
Down payment assistance will be higher, but VA, conventional, FHA are typically going to be within the same spectrum. FHA a little bit lower, but we really don't talk numbers at Prime Lending because we want you to kind of see that difference, and we are fully transparent. We're going to show you where we're coming up with the pricing, but that's the biggest thing. It's just it's almost a crystal ball because you might be able to qualify for a lower interest rate than you.
Fair.
And, so that's the biggest thing.
It's just not credit score either. I mean, just different scenarios, different people. Like I had a collection on my credit for my divorce. I refused to pay my ex-wife's it was utility bills, like electric bill. And I'm like, it was $60, and I just refused to pay for it. But it was under my name, and so it brought down my score until I paid it off. As soon as I paid it off, my score shot up about 50 points.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and again, I was just like stubborn. I'm like, I'm not paying for this. I wasn't even living there the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to that exactly what you just said. I paid off these medical bills, and everyone knows, like, I have Addison's disease, I have medical issues, and my credit, like, I constantly have all these medical issues and bills, and I pay them off, and it drops my score down. I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
No.
So I think that I should have consulted before I was about to refinance my house.
You should have talked to Victor.
I should have.
You should have talked about it.
But I was just like, I just want to get this paid.
You're on
I'm so
Santa's bad list now.
tired.
You're not getting anything for Christmas.
No, I'm going to refinance my house.
That's not for
But
Christmas, though.
I want to go back to your 24% homes increasing by 14. But how are interest rates rising, and what is the difference?
They're really not showing that rates are going to be going up. So that's the biggest thing is that they're going to kind of stay that steady Eddie track right now. That's all these magic words, right? Wild West, steady Eddie.
We're doing a lot of hashtags.
Yes.
So if you want to throw in a hashtag for today, go ahead and throw that in the comment section.
But they're really not talking about rates going up. They might trickle up and down. I think from August is when we started seeing rates kind of go up from the 2s. Everyone was under 3%. They were in the 2s somewhere, and then the market just got kind of flustered with everything and just very fatigued. Rates went up. Now they've kind of tapered off a little bit. The market is still very demanding here. Low supply, huge demand. So they're going to stay where they're at, but again, house values are going to continue to go
and
up.
talking about the supply market, I'm going to go ahead and put that in right there. We're still looking. Oh, let me get my fat face at it right there. So housing supply right now is still at a 0.8. Coming into the season, I guess the last quarter of the year, there was a lot of reports out there indicating that there was going to be this flush of supply in the market, and we started seeing the numbers. I mean, back here, if you look back in, I hate when it refreshes. Back in about what is this? June, July, or no, May. You started seeing kind of an uptick, and we got really excited that supply was coming back. People were purchasing less, and we started seeing the numbers come up. But it's just flatlining here at this 0.6 to 0.8 just supply. 0.6 to 0.8. Really, what that means is less than a month's supply. So less than a month's supply. If we took no listings right now, if we stopped taking any more listings on market, we would run out of houses to sell in less than a month. Which is crazy. We've been kind of stagnant at that number. And usually this time of year, you kind of see the level of supply increasing.
Is that single-family residence?
Single family, yes. Actually, this is all of them. This is everything in the Phoenix area. So this includes
like townhomes, condos, co-ops.
This one does it.
land.
I can eliminate those, but then that could take a
No, I
little
was
bit
just
more.
curious if it actually included that.
It does. And so, again, if you look at national numbers, let me go back to that. When you are on the radio, or when you're on TV or YouTube and they're saying, oh, the housing market's coming back, we're having supply issues, and we're more at a balanced market. Nationally, we're more at a balanced market. Yeah. When you take the supply of other areas and you compare them to Phoenix or combine them with Phoenix, we're at a balanced supply nationally. But locally here, we're still fighting, trying to buy a house. People are getting still frustrated.
And does that affect with mortgage and mortgage interest rates? How does that cross-pollinate?
No, it's not going to affect it at all. I mean, because that's the biggest. Is that my wife?
No, that's my medical. I have to take my medication.
My wife. My wife's calling. She's under arrest again.
we gotta find her in Mexico again. Just kidding. But No. So we're here talking about the Phoenix housing market, and we have Victor on today about mortgages and kind of a leverage in. The information, I think, is the most important part. So the biggest takeaways as we kind of conclude, we're concluding.
Can I ask you both a question?
Oh, sure. Oh, boy.
2022
that could be very loaded, you know.
No, 2022 trends. Okay, so I have an awesome real estate agent. I have an awesome lender here in my hands, right? Palm of my hands.
Oh, shit.
What is about to happen? Like, okay, we're going to hit Christmas.
Uh-oh.
I do think people are still going to continue to buy during the holidays. I don't think the holidays are going to stop us. I think what's going to stop us is the media nonsense. But you two live it, breathe it, daily life. 2022, buying a house. 2022, financing. What should we do? What should we look for? Where are we at?
No, you can go first if you want to go.
Me first. December's always been one of my busiest months, believe it or not. Under contract, refinances has always been my busiest month.
So why don't you send all your business to me?
I'm
just kidding.
Oh, man.
I don't want to spoil you. I'm still waiting for that refi.
Oh, zoinks.
But anyway, so
oh, boy.
Busy month still. I mean, as someone in sales, I never take my foot off the gas until it's basically, the 24th. And at that point, I just kind of step back and enjoy the rest of the year. Robert?
Oh, am I up next? So basically, when it comes to my business, things tend to slow down November, December for me, just because people are caught up in the holidays. People want to go and Christmas shop and that sort of thing. But it hasn't really let down. People are still out there. People are shopping. I've gotten a lot of calls, which is coincidentally today, people coming off the holiday. I don't know if it's a tryptophan, if it's a turkey, but people are just interested in getting back in this market. And it is still competitive, but buying a house is still top of mind of people. And I know next year for me, I will have to kind of shift gears. This year, I knew I was going to have a lot of listings, and which is what we did. I did have. Next year, I think it's going to move towards the purchasing market because people don't see the steam running out of the system. And Phoenix tends to be very desirable. I think with the trends in employment, people want to move out to an area where they don't have to worry about floods or fires or tornadoes, hurricanes. Outside of the heat, this is the perfect place to live. Pretty close to California. You can pretty much have access to Vegas, LA, New Mexico for the Balloon Fest. I mean, there's so many different options. And then plus it's all scenic. So I think Phoenix in itself is still hot, and it's going to be hot until next year. If the Fed does increase rates mid next year, I believe they'll be slowing, but I don't know what that looks like. I thought I could predict this year.
Oh,
and hell no, did I miss a couple of those? But we're still kind of waiting to see what happens next, and that's the toughest part is what to predict and what direction it's going to go. But in the immediate short term, with this low supply, with people still out there looking at homes, and with some of the numbers that came in for purchases between September to October, there's no indication that we're slowing down at all.
No, it's not going to slow down, and I think rates are going to continue to stay the same. Prices,
I think prices are going to go up.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, prices are going to be consistent with a slow elevation, just as well as interest rates. There's going to be a slow elevation, but it's all relatively the same.
But I think our federal government's recognizing that too by increasing limits to FHA, to VA. What are the new limits that came out? I don't even know what they are.
VA is unlimited at this point, right? And as long as they can be approved for it.
Yeah.
Without going jumbo, right?
Without going jumbo.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like 547 or 561 or something with VA.
Yeah.
Because our median price point in Phoenix is about $460,000 right now.
It's crazy.
And 2 years ago, I think we were hitting close to like 280. Yeah. Maybe 300, and in just 2 years' time, we're hitting at 460 as a median price point.
Well, I think when you and I first started talking, I used to always do every application $250,000.
Yeah,
every application.
Average.
That was I always put in that number because we knew that was pretty much a decent price point. Yeah. Now, you have to change that 2 to a 3, 4,
350. Yeah. And like anything under 300,000 right now is a condo, maybe. Mm-hmm. Is possibly a townhouse that's in decent shape. A single family is just anything under 3 is just it's not pretty.
It's tough. So I would say with Victor, one of my biggest advices or my piece of advice to everyone that's watching us now is before you do anything, observe all your options, whether you are DPA, down payment assistance, and a lot of you guys don't understand that, but it doesn't mean you're poor.
No.
I'm not poor. I just kind of like took advantage of the government and the products that they had, because they're really freaking cool products, right? VA, take advantage of it. FHA, take advantage of it. Understand what you can qualify for. There's also conventional loans that you can take advantage of.
Well, VA, you do have to have served.
Well, no, I'm obviously,
Yes.
but there's different things that you were talking about, like VA, the spectrum of where they could qualify for. And then, talking to Robert. So after you talk to Victor and understanding where you're at, because you need to know where you're at or where you are currently to know where you're going to be, to understand what your future is like. I mean, this is not new news.
And if there was a testimony to give to Victor, it is the sense of patience that he has. He does go over those loan programs. He does go over specific information in great detail. And I say that from personal experience in the way he's talked to family members in my household. He's just very a patient person, and we'll walk you through every piece of that loan and what you qualify for.
I have to be patient. My wife's a diva. My children are spoiled. Like, I have to be patient. But
is this being recorded?
It is being
It's
recorded.
live actually right now.
I
So.
think my
We're
daughter's
live
actually
right now.
outside waiting for me
With a shotgun.
Here's the thing, though. I tend to read a lot of the guidelines. And I'll bring up my parents are a perfect example. They moved to Texas. My dad's a VA. He qualified for not having to pay property taxes. So my parents purchased a $265,000 home, and they pay $1,400 a month.
Yeah, it's amazing.
No MI,
Right.
and no property taxes.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
So principal, interest, and
Is that a reverse mortgage or is that?
No, it's
No,
Regular
that's-
full-on
yeah.
VA.
So in documentation, that's a huge thing.
Yep.
Being able to document things. So when you go to Victor and you're like, oh, I own a side business. How long have you owned it? At least 2 years?
Yeah.
Do you
You
have a
just don't
Schedule
say
C?
it's
Like, I mean, there's so many things that go into it. Like, you have to be able to document it. You have to talk to a lender. And then when you reach, then after that, we'll take you off to Robert. And Robert will help you understand how that works. Because
For sure.
when we listen to the news and we look at houses on Zillow or gosh, there's so many entities. Or we go to bankrate.com. Like when you Google it and you go into mortgage rate
Every
calculator.
single one, yeah.
It's
No,
different.
it's going to be totally different, and you have to hear it from the horse's mouth more than anything else.
Are you calling yourself a horse?
No. From the banker's mouth. She just snorted.
Oh boy, she does that.
I think I think we provided. It's like almost what we provided a fire hose for them to take a sip out of. So lots of information, but there's a lot more to share. I think the easiest way is to contact Robert, to contact myself, or hell, even to contact Ashley.
I'm not ignorant by any means. I may be
No.
entitled, but so you go through Victor, you go through Robert, and then you come to me and we'll close the docs for you. However, I have expanded my knowledge and I understand mortgages, I understand real estate, and I understand what I do. So
with that said, as we wrap up today's show, because we're on the tail end, it's the tail end of 30 minutes. Can you believe that? It goes by so quickly.
so fast.
So,
So good. So good.
if there was something to take away today from today's show, don't be discouraged. In this market, there's so many things moving along. The person that's helping you out, continue to help them if you trust them. Victor and I are here to help, but there's just so much competition still. But there's starting to be opportunity. Like I said, with the client I had last week, we were able to get closing costs and we were able to get home warranty. But there's continues to be more openings in that area. So don't get discouraged. If you have been looking for the last 6 to 9 months, maybe knock on that door one more time. Maybe there's an opportunity for you too. Because honestly, the home that we got into contract was more accidental than anything else, and I saw the opportunity, we jumped on it. So don't get discouraged.
Well,
Ashley.
I think the only competition is yourself, and if you don't have enough knowledge with your financial situation, you might have less competition.
Yep.
In a sense, right, Victor?
Well, no, and you don't want to miss the boat. I mean, that boat's starting to kind of leave the dock, and that's the biggest thing. Get onto it. Get on board and let's
Jump
go.
on it.
Yeah. So I mean, the biggest takeaway is let me get back on me. The biggest takeaway is if you're thinking about making the decision, be informed. Reach out to somebody who you trust, whether it's Victor or whether it's myself, whether it's Ashley. It doesn't matter as long as you reach out to them. More Victor. Ashley. That's some implanting right there. That's some
Santa calling.
psychological implant. But if there's somebody out there you trust, you reach out to them. There may be an opportunity there, and really be informed of what your situation is, and to be able to make a better decision in the future. So with that said, I want to make sure we post Victor's information real quick here. So find him on. Let me go here. So find him on. What was it?
Alarcon.com.
And then it'll take you to the prime lending page here. Victor Alarcon the third. Why is it the third? You're the third.
We're trying to do the George Foreman thing, but we're naming each other's children. So
Oh boy.
my
They
dad's
have like
Victor, my
6?
grandfather's Victor. He's got like 5. They're all Victor or George. So my son's Victor. That's what we call him, Buddy.
I love that.
So if you want to reach out, do you have a phone number here? Oh, you got it at the bottom.
right up
Ashley's
top.
covering your phone number. Look at it.
8675309.
It's actually at the top, also top right corner. If you scroll
Top
up
right
a little
corner.
bit.
Am I scrolling up?
Maybe
Maybe not.
there.
It's down at the bottom. Like it's right under Ashley. If you want to know how to get in contact with Victor,
623.
right under Ashley there, 623-433-6357. You have any questions about mortgages? If you have any questions about real estate, go ahead and reach out to us here at rconumber.com or here on the show. We're here. Any last words, sir, before we head out?
Everyone enjoy it. We will talk a little bit more. Please call me. Let's stop that fire hose and talk a little bit more in detail and be patient with the whole guidance.
Money purchase power, my friends.
Oh my.
Oh my.
My.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us on Mondays. We're here to talk about real estate, really talk about the Phoenix market. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you have any comments or questions, drop those in the comment section. We'll answer them next week, and we'll see you guys next Monday.
Bye now.
Adios.